Well, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Welcome to a beautiful day in Los Angeles to announce a very special event, live and exclusive on DAZN. December the 20th, Talking Stick Arena in Phoenix. Danny Jacobs takes on Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in a great fight to end the year, a huge year of boxing, live on DAZN. These last few weeks and months, we've seen Fight of the Year contenders coming at us continuously. And on Saturday night, we have one of the most bizarre events I think I've ever worked with in KSI against Logan Paul, which is set to break subscriptions and pay-per-view records in markets all around the world. And like I said, December 20, we cap off a fantastic year with this great fight in Phoenix. The narrative of this one is great. Of course, Daniel Jacobs coming off a great fight against Canelo Alvarez and Cinco de Mayo recently this year, losing his IBF middleweight world championship, now moving up to super middleweight, 168 pounds, which I think is going to be a brilliant division for him to try and become a two-weight world champion. And Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who's had his ups, who has his downs, remains a huge name in Mexico and looks for redemption at the site of his father's last ever professional fight in Phoenix. This fight has got it all. We're expecting a huge undercard already announced on the card. Julio Cesar Martinez will challenge Christopher Rosales for the WBC World Flyweight Championship. Maurice Hooker returns, moving up a weight class as well. Luke Campbell will be on the card, coming off his great fight with Vasily Lomachenko, and much more to be added in the coming days. Before we speak to the teams and the fighters, I'm going to pass over to the head of boxing and Vice President for DAZN, Joe Markowski.
Thanks, Eddie, and welcome to all our friends in the media here in Los Angeles. What Eddie says is a fascinating week for our business in the sport of boxing. Listen, fight season on DAZN continues, it rolls on, and Jacob Chavez Jr. will be a spectacular way for us to close out 2019, especially the last quarter of 2019, which has produced some absolutely memorable nights and a fascinating run of matchups on our service. Canelo Kovalev, Triple G, Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz coming up, Devin Haney tomorrow night, Ryan Garcia in that spectacular first-round knockout last weekend, Josh Taylor, Regis Prograis, and now we had this fascinating fight between Daniel Jacobs and Julio Chavez Jr. So, as I say, it's a fascinating fight between two high-profile former world champions, and we think it will create the buzz that we love in the boxing community and beyond. So we're very happy to have Danny back fighting on DAZN, a fantastic partner this year for our business. And we're delighted that he's making his debut at super middleweight. So, true pro, thank you to you and your team for everything you do for our business. To Julio, bienvenida a DAZN, welcome. Fantastic to have you with the service. You're a truly fascinating man, and we're looking forward to the promotion as it rolls out. Listen, that's enough from me. Great fight season on DAZN, and we thank our friends in the media for everything you do to support our business. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Before we hear from the fighters, I want to bring up a man who I feel like actually I work with, but we work independently. He always does a great job for his fighters. Seems to be involved in every mega fight in boxing these days, and of course done a fantastic job with Danny Jacobs, been with him from the very, very start. The manager for Daniel Jacobs, Keith Connolly.
Good morning, guys. Excited for December 20th. Took a long time to get here. We've been talking about this deal, trying to finalize it for the last 2 months, so it's finally here. I'm also really excited to see Danny move up in weight. You know, he's really been killing himself to make 160 over the last couple of years, but he had a great middleweight career. I mean, he had a huge, spectacular knockout against Peter Quillen in the first round, won an IBF title off another great fighter, Sergey Derevyanchenko, beat him decisively. Fought Triple G. A lot of people thought Danny won that fight. Myself and Eddie included have both always said that Danny won that fight. And he had a very close fight with Canelo Alvarez in May where if one judge or two judges had one round flipped, it was a draw. So, you know, he's had a spectacular career at middleweight. He's going to be a lot stronger at 168. Chavez is just the beginning point of that second part of his career. I expect him to batter Chavez around the ring for however long it lasts. And after that, I think Danny's going to be gunning for the 168-pound titles. And I think he'll put everybody on notice December 20th. So hopefully as many of the people that showed up today can show up December 20th, because I think it's going to be fireworks. Thanks.
Thank you, Keith. Over to the first part of this great fight, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I've been talking to Julio for over a year, trying to make fights with him, and I have to say I have a big soft spot for him. I think growing up in Mexico as the son of one of the greatest sporting legends of all time in Mexico is never easy, but I believe that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is on point for this fight. I've seen him training very, very hard, and it's a massive moment for his career. You know, he's had his ups, he's had his downs, he's had his fans, he's had his haters, but this is a moment that could completely catapult his career on December the 20th in Phoenix. Like I said, the site of his father's last ever fight, and we look forward to welcoming him to what will be a huge crowd in Phoenix on December 20. Ladies and gentlemen, the former world champion, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Pues voy a hablar en español, ¿nadie me puede traducir? ¿Tú? Bueno, yo estoy muy contento de esta oportunidad que se me presenta. Quiero darle las gracias a Dazón, también al equipo de Daniel Jacob.
Danny Jacobs team.
Voy a prepararme muy duro para esta pelea. Estoy muy contento de que se haya hecho posible la pelea.
I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna train really hard for this fight, and I'm really happy because of this fight.
Muchas gracias a todos.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Julio. This man has been a pleasure to work with. He took the leap with us when we launched in Matchroom, pre-DAZN, and we continue that relationship now with DAZN through the Canelo Alvarez fight. He is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the great ambassadors of the sport of boxing, one of the great fighters, I believe a pound-for-pound great fighter in the sport of boxing as well, and I believe at 168 pounds he's going to be a real force. When you look at the division at 160 pounds and 168 pounds on DAZN, look at the amount of fighters that are there ready for mega fights, particularly the two 168-pound world champions, Billy Joe Saunders, who you'll see defend his title tomorrow night at the Staples Center, and of course Callum Smith, who defends his world title on November the 23rd. They are two fights that are very easily made for the winner of this fight and Daniel Jacobs. And I want to bring up right now the former world middleweight champion, Daniel Jacobs.
And thank you guys for being here today. I was excited to be back in the ring facing stellar fighter in Chavez Jr. Great opportunity for me to display my skills at the super middleweight division. I'm excited because I feel like I get an opportunity to be strong, go inside the ring, fully healthy, no excuses outside, and I think this is going to be my showing. I think this is a great opportunity against the perfect opponent, perfect caliber of an opponent, because styles make fights, and I feel like he complements my style very much so. I think the only thing that I can think about right now is just, just how unforgiving the sport of boxing could be. Sometimes the thrill could be gone because you realize that boxing sometimes is more business than it is, the dream that you once had when you first put the gloves on. And the person that comes to mind is my dear friend Patrick Day. Fighting with his spirit on my mind and in my soul is very tough and very challenging. I lost a very close friend of mine, and I lost him to this sport in which we all praise and worship. But I guess my message is that, man, it's really hard to move forward. I'm going to have him in the back of my mind as my motivation, but to me, boxing is really not the same because of the things that I've gone through in my career. I want to maximize my full potential as far as being the best that I can be, and those who do support me, I want to be able to give you the greatest showing that I can possibly give. And when it's all said and done, hopefully I'll be able to be a candidate for a Hall of Famer. And they start with fights like this and the fights that I've had in my past, and I look forward to the future with the super middleweight division kings, and I look forward to making myself one of the best. Thank you guys for being here. Sorry for the energy that I'm displaying. I'm not really at the best right now, but come fight night, you guys are going to see a change. You're going to see that difference. You're going to see that desire that I always bring to the ring. So I thank you. I appreciate you. And hopefully I see you all on December 20th.
Thank you, Danny. Great words, and of course our thoughts will always be with Patrick Day. Thank you all for attending today, December 20, Talking Stick Arena in Phoenix. We expect a huge crowd there. More undercard fights announced shortly, live and exclusive on DAZN to cap what has been a remarkable 2019. We're going to pose both fighters here for head-to-heads now, and then both will be available to the media as the weigh-in takes place at 1 p.m. today outside the Staples Center for KSI Logan Paul. Thank you for attending. We look forward to a great show December 20th. Thank you very much.